Alright, so another beautiful day out here. I brought my Freewing F22, which is running on 8-cell, and I've got 2 packs. So we're going to give this a shot. I haven't flown it on this 8-cell setup yet, so I don't really know how it's going to do. But for comparison, this was originally a stock 8-cell 1390 kV. The stock 8-cell you can buy from Motion RC from Freewing. I wasn't really happy with the performance, but that's not really down to the power system. I feel like it's more down to my packs. And I think I mentioned that in the other video I did of this plane a while back. These are Hobbystar 5200 8-cell. In my opinion, they're just not very good packs. They're good for, you know, mid-range amp draw. I probably would feel comfortable using these on a like an 80 amp setup. The stock setup using these packs would barely clear 100 amps, and I understand that with a quality pack you could get as much as 125, so that kind of shows you what the limitation is. And it would pull from a full charge warmed up pack, it would pull the voltage down to like 3.6 per cell or lower even. So instead of upgrading my packs, I upgraded the EDF unit. We're still using the stock 8-cell speed control, but I put in a I think it's a, let me think about the brand here for a minute. It's a Turnigy SK3 1500 kV. It's designed for 90mm EDFs running 8-cell. So I got that in there with a Changesun 12 blade fan. That combination wasn't quite a drop-in. It's not a great fit. You have to carve a little bit of foam out of there, but I have it fit pretty well. Now that EDF with the stock Freewing 8-cell speed control, the 150 amp, on the bench and using a Castle 200 amp speed control with data logging, showed close to 120 amps on 8-cell full throttle. I don't know how accurate those are really, but it's a noticeable power increase over the stock one using these batteries. So I don't really know how well this is going to work today. If everything works the way it's supposed to, I should be able to get 2 flights in. Short ones probably, because I don't know what these packs are going to stand up to, but I want to get those flights. Part of the problem here, I think part of the problem is that the cells aren't matched very well at all, which isn't great in any battery pack. With an 8-cell, I think it's even more important because you have so many points of failure. The other thing is, I don't know if you can see this or not, this is 12 gauge wire. It is an XT90 plug, but that 12 gauge wire, I don't know, I just feel like it would be a better pack with 10 gauge. I know that would be a lot thicker and it would increase the weight, but I think that's probably a fair trade-off. So let me, my apologies, I just got a text message, I need to check it. And we'll get this thing plugged in, get the landing gear down, set her down here on the ground, do a quick function check, and see if we can't get ourselves a good flight here. I'm gonna put this pack right about there, I think. All right, locker in place. Radio is on. Dirty, but on. Right model. And here we go. Gonna be a loud spark. 1, 2, 3. All right, so there's that. Let's pick her up out of here. Cycle the gear down. Gear down. Let's put the nose on. Nose on. All right, so I've done a little mixing here to where when I lower the flaps to half, I get a little elevator mix and I get a little speed brake from the rudders. Honestly, I don't fly a ton with rudder. As a pilot, I know that's kind of a failure on my part, but that's okay. But so I went ahead and incorporated those into the speed brake, but only at half flaps. If you notice, when I go from 0 to half, they kick in, the flaps go to half, the elevator mix goes. But then when I go to full flaps, nothing moves. I didn't do any more elevator mix, I didn't do any more speed brake. I thought about taking the speed brake off for full flaps. Maybe I will eventually, I don't know. But anyway, so here goes. If everything works the way it's supposed to today, we should be fine. I didn't have to solder anything, which always makes me nervous when I have to solder something because I'm not that great at it, especially in very high power setups. I've had my solder joints fail. So there's really no wind today, so I think I'm going to take off and land north to south here. I'm a little nervous, but I know this plane flies really, really well, so I'm kind of optimistic. Maybe I won't mess it up too bad. Maybe I'll bring a plane home today. I sure hope so. What do you think? Enough talking? Enough talking. Let's go. Okay. We're up. Gears retracted. We're flying good. I've never been too good at landing this plane, unfortunately. And to be honest, I've never been too good at flying it either. But maybe today we can get a little more comfortable with it and I won't break it. Looks gorgeous in the air though, that's for sure. Sorry, sunlight, my bad. I don't like it. I'm gonna do a full power pass here. So far, so good. Getting a little more comfortable with this thing as I go. I've been flying my Avanti S a lot lately, so I'm kind of trying to fly this like I fly that. But that plane is just so confidence inspiring. And this one just makes me nervous, not because of how it flies, but because of how much it cost. So yeah. It's very good. I mean, I don't need to be nervous about this plane, but I kind of am. I'm going to try a real slow pass here with half flaps, rudder brake, everything going, and see what happens. Real slow pass. All right. I think I can probably land this plane, which I need to do because I'm coming up on my 20-second timer. All right, I need to make sure my landing gear are actually coming down, and then we'll land it. All right, I see 1, 2, 3. All right, here goes nothing. Wish me luck. I'll try a half flap landing here. Ooh. Ooh. I know that was fast, but that was probably my best landing yet on this jet. I have a fair bit of expo on the elevator because those elevators are just so big and responsive. So I think I need to take that off. I don't like expo very much. So yeah, I might either reduce or remove the expo on the elevator for the next flight because I don't know about it. But the reason why is because when I flared, it didn't feel like it did a whole lot. So I was like, oh no, I need to pull more, I need to pull harder. And then I did pull harder and it way overreacted. So I think that's, you know, that's kind of how expo works, right? You move it a little bit and it doesn't respond a lot. You move it a lot and it does respond a lot. So I think for the second flight here, I'll go ahead and remove that expo and see if I can do a little better. That motor does sound a little grindy. All right, so Dad's coming out. I'll wait for him to do the second flight. Before I finish this video, I just want to talk a little bit about what I did for the speed brake here. So most transmitters, you can do a flap to elevator mix, right? So that's just, you click your flaps and it puts in a little elevator so the nose doesn't balloon when you hit the flaps, right? That's pretty easy. To do the rudder brakes where the rudder both go in and also have independent steering is a little trickier. What I had to do was isolate each rudder and the steering. And I kind of troubled over this for a while with a different plane, my old now E-flite Scimitar. I wanted speed brakes on that like I was able to do on my F22 Striker with the rudders. And with the Striker, it's as easy as isolate the rudders, slave one to the other so that they both do rudder things, and then slave each individually to whatever switch you want to use. So if you wanted to use landing gear, you would do a landing gear to rudder, and then let's say you put the second rudder on maybe, I don't know, flaps or aux1 or aux2 or aux3. So you would do, to get the rudders to work, you would do rudder input to, say, aux1 output, and that would make your second rudder, which is not on the rudder channel, respond to the rudder input, right? And then you would do whatever input you wanted for the rudder brake, right? You would do, let's say you wanted to use your landing gear switch for whatever reason. You want to use landing gear as the control for the rudder brakes. So you would do landing gear to rudder, and you would do landing gear to aux1 for the second rudder. So whenever you flip that switch, one rudder goes in and the other rudder goes in. And that's an opposite direction mix. So you have to figure out, I just did through trial and error. Adding steering into the mix is a good challenge. What you have to do, or what I had to do to make it functional, make your steering wheel the actual rudder channel, right? So in my receiver, the only thing that's plugged into the rudder channel is the front steering. And then you assign each individual rudder to a different channel, aux2 and aux3 on my particular setup. And then you slave each individual rudder channel to the actual rudder channel. So aux2 is slaved to rudder input, aux3 is slaved to rudder input, right? And that by itself just makes it so your steering is by itself and only affected by rudder input. And each rudder also does what it's supposed to do as a rudder, right? From there, just like with your flap to elevator mix, you take flap input to aux2 output and flap input to aux3 output. So now, whenever I hit the flaps, it doesn't just do a flap to elevator mix, it does a flap to aux2 and aux3. And I just had to do trial and error with percentages and directions to make sure that they both go inward. Realistically, a rudder brake would work if they go out. So, I mean, that would be completely functional as well. I just decided to bring them in because I think it looks cooler. And just like with flaps, if you bring your rudders in or out, that's drag on top of the plane at the back, right? So this drag back here by itself would make the nose go up, right? So that's why the sort of flap elevator mix is crucial here, because this is going to make the nose go up with your rudders. The flaps typically have a tendency to do that as well, although I'm not too sure if that's the case on this model because I haven't flown it that way in so long. So yeah, that's just a quick me running my mouth about how I programmed the rudder brakes with steering, flaps, elevator mix, and each individual rudder mix. So I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to unplug this. I want to see how this battery did. I don't have a cell checker because of course I forgot my cell checker. So I'll check that at home. It actually is not that hot. My Castle data logger showed under load with a full charge and a warmed up pack 3.5 volts per cell under full throttle. That's working it pretty hard. And like I said before, I think a better quality battery would get you much better results. But hey, it's not half bad. Better quality or thicker gauge discharge wire. Yeah, so not half bad. I'd like to get my hands on some 5,000 milliamp hour 4-cell packs. I can run them in series and get some more flights on this thing. I like it. I haven't flown this plane a whole lot. In the 2 years since I bought it, I've got now 9 flights. I keep track of it on the leading edge there of the intake. Yeah, I'd like to fly it more, and I may. Now that I have a good flying spot, I've got a car that can get it there. Only 2 batteries right now, which means, you know, as a flight outing goes, isn't much, but yeah, plenty of battery space in there, so I may experiment with that. Okay, I'm going to terminate this video, and when Dad gets here, I'll do the second flight. Bye.